Hello and welcome to my Roadhog scrap gun plus hook tips video. So I think Roadhog is very underrated and it's actually not clear to a lot of players just how much damage Roadhog can do. So I'm going to walk you through some pretty straightforward demonstrations of the way his left click and right click scrap gun works, and also some general advice about hooks as well. So for starters, let's just talk about how much damage he does. Roadhog does an insane 150 damage per left click, which is this, that's the spread shot, and then 150 damage also for the right click. They are statistically identical, by the way. They do the exact same amount of damage, they have the exact same amount of ammo, the exact same reload time, the exact same DPS, and the only difference is the fall off and the unique spread mechanic on the right click, but I'll explain that in a second. So 187 damage per second for Roadhog. That is actually crazy with the left click, right? And it can headshot, so it can go up to 374 damage, which is bonkers, right? You can absolutely melt people with this. It's the highest of all the tanks. Roadhog does the most sustained damage of all the tanks. Like, ignore like the initial burst. The sustained damage of Roadhog is higher than even Zarya at a 100 energy, who only does 170 damage and cannot headshot. So let's look at what that feels like, okay? So here we are, Reinhardt, full health. So for Reinhardt, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 melee, and he's dead. Right? That's pretty good, right? So we'll watch again. 1, 2, 3, 4 melee. Pretty good against one of the tankiest heroes in the game, if not the tankiest hero in the game. So as I mentioned before, Roadhog's scrap gun also can headshot. So headshot does double damage by default for almost all weapons. And we're going to see this right here. So I line up the headshot. So 1, 2 melee, and instantly kills a full health Reinhardt, right? So to see it's not a fluke, 1, 2 melee, instant death, because it doubles damage. So 4 normal left clicks kill him, then 2, then if you get headshots, then you double it up and it does twice as much damage. So obviously pretty great. But Reinhardt's a really fat target, so let's swap to somebody with a smaller target. So let's try Soldier. So for Soldier right here, I'm going to go up, and for Soldier, you can kill him in 2 shots of the waist. Right? And it's pretty forgiving too, right? You can see the first shot does a ton of damage, 150 damage. So I don't even need to get this dead on to get him with the kill. So if I walk further away, I want to show what the right click does. So I'm about 4-ish meters away right now. So with the right click only does, what's it, 50 damage, 50 damage, and then it's going to spread open. So if you watch it against a wall, so if I do this, you're going to see one little thick particle, right? It's just one blob. Think of it like a slug. If you step further away, it's eventually going to turn to a spread. So you see right now, right, this is regular, and then you step away, you see that splash right now? That means it's triggering and spreading out and doing full damage. So this distance, 50 damage. This distance, 150 damage. So triples in distance at the 8 meter mark. Very important to know this, and Roadhog players who get good at Roadhog will understand intuitively like where that distance is. So let's take a look. So if I'm going to right click Soldier right now, this is 50 damage, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 to kill. Takes way too long. All right? Now it can headshot though, even before it spreads. So 1, 2 to the head. The odds of you hitting this are basically 0. At this range, you might as well just shoot him, right? Like, shooting is more consistent, you're a lot more likely to land the hits. Now, let's imagine that we take a step back, right? So now I'm about 6 meters away right now, right? Still, notice 3, 4. It's still not spreading yet, which is why it's still doing only 50 damage. But let's step back a little further, right? Still not too close, right? And do one more. And now we see it spreads, okay? So watch, again. This is 150 damage. I'm going to take one small step forwards. This is 50 damage. Big difference. So when you play as Roadhog, you typically want to stay either at this range or you want to stay at this range. Okay? Up close, left click. Farther away, right click. And playing that range, very important. So, another cool thing about this is you can one-tap people to the head, which is incredibly satisfying when you get it correctly. So right about here, yep, there we go. So you can one-tap 200 or 250 health heroes in the head with one right click, just one regular right click, assuming you get the range correct. Obviously, if they're smart, they're going to take even one step forward, prevents them from doing that, and it dramatically reduces your damage against them. But it's something to always think about. So now let's talk about hooking. So we'll do the standard hook, right? I hook, pulls to me. There's a slight delay after they get hooked where they cannot activate any abilities, like they can't wraith out, they can't recall, etc. And I'm going to shoot them. At this range, the best place to shoot them is typically going to be in the waist, right? It's more important to prioritize getting all the pellets to land than it is to prioritize getting a headshot, typically, unless you're very, very close. So here, 2-shot him in the body. For perspective, I'm going to hook him and shoot him in the head. So you see, this takes 3 shots instead of 2, which is why I say prioritize generally landing all the pellets to the body. Now, the cool thing is, after you hook, there is a short delay where you can walk up before they can take any action, as I mentioned. So like this. So now you see I did 150 damage instead of 125. So we'll take a look at this again. So again, hook, I do not walk. Body shot, right? Did about 150-ish damage. 125 damage. So now I'm going to hook, walk forward, shoot. And I can do that before they can react. It does 150 damage consistently. So now you notice that meleeing does 30 damage. So that's 180. So it's not going to be an insta-kill. But I can do this. I can hook and walk forwards and also shoot to the upper torso to get more damage. So hook, walk forwards. And you see that shot did like 190, 195 damage. So much better because some of the shots are hitting him in the head. Not only are all the pellets landing, but some are hitting the head, which is going to double damage. So if I hook, shoot to the upper torso, and then melee, that's going to insta-kill. So again, hook, walk forwards, upper torso. I messed it up. Try again. Obviously not the perfect combo. So hook, walk forwards. There we go. So that one taps a 200 health hero. Now, let's talk about right-clicking. So one way to make this combo more consistent is to weaken them first by right-clicking, right? Right-clicking, very dangerous. So let's try right-clicking them. So I right-click, left-click, pull, and you can tell the soldier's easily going to die. But you're like, oh, well, I'm never going to be able to right-click that consistently, which is true, right? So let's just right-click over here, let's say, where a good chunk of them missed. Go forward. Like that was a huge miss, right? That was like a 70-80% accuracy miss or so. Right? I barely did any damage, but the breakpoint is such that I can still get that kill. So even if I whiff him pretty considerably, I can still go forwards and get this kill on a very, very consistent basis. Really, really important as Roadhog to instantly kill people. If you cannot instantly kill people as Roadhog, you will never be able to climb. Now, last thing we're going to mention, or second last thing we're going to mention, is pulling people sideways. So when you hook an enemy, you have the option of turning left or right to pull them in that direction. So I'm going to hook him, I pull to the right, there he is, shoot him down. Now, some people might ask, what if you try to pull further than that? Well, let's try doing a 180. So I hook, right? That's almost a 180. You see he goes to the exact same spot. There's a limit to how far that you can pull them. So do it again, right? All the way to the 180. Oh, where the heck did he go? Oh, I hooked so far that it actually came out to the left side. So hook over here, right? See, same spot. Last thing I want to note here is Doomfist. So Doomfist is probably the reason why I switched to Roadhog. So I am not a Roadhog main by any means. I play most of my other tanks at GM. The only real reason why we go Roadhog is when the Doomfist is oppressive, because I don't think any of the other tanks actually have a way of shutting down Doomfist, which includes Orisa, which is what people often say. You can sort of like soft deal with him, but you can't be like, if the Doomfist is the best player on their team and you're going to lose otherwise, you cannot deal with that as Orisa. I think Roadhog is the only tank that can do this. So something to note for Doomfist is a pretty large hitbox, and he doesn't have a lot of health, which means that with Doomfist, you can kill him with a one-shot combo as Roadhog. So let's say Doom's gone in, he's jumped my team, right? I shoot him in the body, pull. Oh, I've got a melee. So try again. Right, Doomfist is on my team. Okay, cool. I shoot him. There we go. Right, a one-shot combo. Now, the Doomfist, if you try to shoot, right, or rather, if you try to hook first and then shoot, he's gonna block. Right, so if I hook and then shoot, right, he's gonna block right after this, and then he's gonna live because he's gonna get out at that point. Which is why it's very, very important to get that initial good damage in. Right, Doomfist is in, shot, pull, melee, and then you can do that faster than you can block, because the shot melee always happens, assuming you do the correct timing, always happens before they have the ability to put any button inputs in. Okay, that concludes this scrap gun and hooks guide.